Black Myth Wukong just got a new trailer, a benchmark tool that's probably lying to you, and a ton of new information about what you can expect from the reviews and more. Let's break it all down. So the new gameplay trailer is the final trailer, and this is a quite lengthy trailer that shows a ton of things that we just haven't seen before. Namely, the main thing that I think is most interesting to me personally is all the new transformations and some of the different weapon skills that we do see. Like, my personal favorite is the weird tentacly thing where Wukong jumps backwards in a dodge and then uses the tentacles to throw rocks or snow in this case, which I assume in other environments would be rocks or whatever you were actually in. And then there is also a way to use it as an AoE sort of attack. And I really like the way that plays out. And we saw a ton of new information about bosses as well as a couple of NPCs that Wukong talks to and seemingly other interactions that maybe aren't necessarily bad guys or good guys, but just people that Wukong is talking to, which we have heard that there are going to be NPCs that you'll be able to interact with and get quests and stuff from, but we haven't really seen a whole lot of it in any of the actual trailers or the marketing material. It's mostly just focused on the environments as well as the combat, but we've seen a few of them here, which is nice to see that sort of a difference that, it isn't just going to be combat focused. I did love this weird baby thing with the watermelon. I don't know, I'm assuming that's a character from Journey to the West, but it was hilarious to see. But that's not the main thing I wanted to cover today. It's that you can kind of technically in some way play Black Myth Wukong right now, but not really, and that's the benchmark tool, which personally I think is misleading you. So just for some comparisons here, right, you can download this on Steam. It's totally free. You can just plug in then your settings that you want to the game to run as, and then run this benchmark tool, which will just take you through this very slow moving environment. You'll see some enemies and stuff just chilling on the river. Now with no ray tracing and everything else maxed out and using frame gen, I was sitting at about 60, slightly above 60, and then by turning on ray tracing and completely maxing that out, I was sitting at about 40, 45-ish, depending on the current rates. Now, the first thing to consider here is that I know that I have a maxed out computer that most people probably don't have. So there is plenty of settings that you can actually change here to lower the settings way down. So, you don't have to run everything on the cinematic setting. I did notice that there is a pretty solid difference between cinematic and the very high in terms of graphical fidelity. There's not a ton difference when you're actually looking at it, but in terms of frame rates there is a difference. And then obviously you've got things like frame gen, DLSS, that sort of stuff as well that you can play around with. But the reason that I wanted to talk about this here is this benchmark doesn't have any combat at all, and very few particle effects. If you even just watch that footage we were just talking about with that final trailer and any other trailer, right, there is a lot of particle effects happening on the screen, a lot of fast movement, tons of, spells and skills and things happening, going off all at once, lots of camera moving around very fast, and none of that is in this benchmark tool, right? So totally, I may be wrong. I would personally expect that whatever you have put into the benchmark tool, and then if you're taking that directly into the game, I don't think that's going to be a one-to-one comparison. The reason that you would put out a benchmark tool so close to launch like this is probably mostly as a marketing ploy to get people to download it and, they're thinking about the game, think about all the different articles that have been written about this benchmark tool that have gone out, etc., right? It's a marketing tool, you know what I mean? That's why this has happened, but it's just something to think about, that if you are using this benchmark tool to play around with it, it's probably not going to be accurate to exactly what you're going to get in the main game. But either way, this game still does look absolutely incredible. And if you are on PlayStation and planning to play it there, you don't have to worry about any of this stuff, right? Console players will be able to expect the typical quality mode versus performance mode, with quality mode running at native 4K, probably targeting 30 FPS. Chances are it may not actually hit that. It might take some patches to iron that out. And then a performance mode that's targeting 60 FPS, that's actually running at 2K resolution rather than 4K natively. So there's definitely going to be, I assume, day one or around abouts, right, we'll get that classic Digital Foundry video that's going to break all of this stuff down. It's my favorite thing about game releases, not going to lie, is to watch those Digital Foundry videos and just see exactly, how the systems are different and the best PC settings and all that stuff. I just find that so interesting. I don't know why. I'm clearly not the only one, considering how well that YouTube channel does, but you'll definitely be able to expect that, I assume, from Digital Foundry, because of the amount of, bells and whistles that are even in this benchmark tool that they'll be able to play around with to compare to all of those specifics. Review codes have gone out for Black Myth Wukong. I unfortunately do not have one, so you won't have a review from me from day one, but review codes have gone out, and there is an embargo date as well, which we do know from Tom Henderson, who is the owner of Inside Gaming, posted that Wukong codes are out. out, and that the embargo date is set for August 16th. Now, I didn't actually get a code. I did request one, but I didn't actually get one come through. An interesting thing to note here is that the embargo is actually set for the 16th, which is significantly ahead of the game's launch. Typically, when you see that, that usually means that they expect to have people like good things to say about it, so people are going to then pre-order. But the other point is that you're definitely going to get leaks, and they've already started to occur. Now, I won't show any of the leaked footage or talk about anything specific in this video, just some like grander details that you might find interesting, because there's a lot of confusion or not a lot of clear information about the length of the game, what you can sort of expect and everything. And, you know, I did make a video last week sort of covering what we knew at that point. Go and watch that if you want some more details. But this information does come from a post from the Black Myth Reddit by Ice Popsicle Dragon, which was translated from Chinese. But the main details I want to pull out here is that the game has 15 main maps, one or more boss for each. So a detail that we've always known here is that it's not an open world. Now, you can probably expect that you're going to be traveling between these main maps, right? Like you could get to the end of one area, defeat a certain boss, then like at the shrine, you'll be able to like travel to that next area, or maybe there's like a cutscene or something as you travel to that next environment, which is similar to how it worked in Sekiro, and that's actually how they mention it here. Now, there is also multiple hidden bosses that can require key items to access them. Those key items, exactly what they are, we'll have to wait and see. Like, I don't know if it's necessarily a key specifically to unlock the boss. It might just be like areas you'll need to unlock. Chances are they may be linked to NPC quest lines, like some of the NPCs we did see in that final trailer. And there will be more than 4 hidden small maps that you'll actually be able to find as well. So I'm very interested to learn about all of the different secrets and interconnectivity the game has, as well as different gear that may be hidden in these areas. And, you know, I'm going to have plenty of content surrounding all of that good stuff once we do have access to the game. And probably one of the most interesting details, is something I didn't consider, is that endings are based on NPC interactions through the campaign. So there will be different endings, which is an interesting detail seemingly from this. I don't know if you can expect it to be similar to, say, an Elden Ring, where you'd have, for example, like the most common one, right, is Rani's questline. You go through all of Rani's questline, and that unlocks the Age of Stars ending. I don't know necessarily if you can expect something as complex as that, like having to go through a massive, long NPC chain, or if it's just your interactions, say, you know, choosing to side with one NPC over the other, or potentially helping an NPC may impact the endings. Don't really exactly know there, but in terms of the overall length and what we can sort of expect from the game, it's good to see that there is going to be a solid amount of maps and obviously bosses, right? Like that kind of indicates that maybe there'll be like 15 main bosses or something around that, plus like all the secret ones that you'll be interacting with throughout the game as well. From the final trailer, like we saw, I don't know, 15 or 16 different transformations alone, plus the ones that we have already seen before that. So if they are all linked to bosses, which at this moment, that's the sort of information that we know, is that to unlock these transformations, you do need to defeat bosses, or they could be linked to other things. Like that's a pretty wild amount of transformations that, you know, alone maybe bosses, but also just like different kits that you'll be able to use. Like I'm really interested to play around with them and see which ones are the best, and, you know, which ones we all gravitate towards. But let me know your thoughts on Black Myth Wukong in the comments down below. Did you use the benchmark tool? What sort of frame rates did you get? Really interested to know there. But thank you guys for watching this video till the end. Thank you to our members for supporting the channel. My name is Norza, and I hope you have a great day.